What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here. Welcome back to yet another video, a special video, because today I will be addressing a question that I've been getting a lot. Look at this, my hair's getting quite long. It's getting long, it's coming back. It's coming back. A question that I've been getting asked for several months now, which is like, Peter, do a video about your watches. We wanna know about the watches. What's up with the watches? What's the deal with the watches? There's a watch in this bag right here. You see, I got randomly suggested a video on YouTube from a young up-and-coming YouTuber by the name of Loomshot. That's a cool name. That's a cool avatar. Do people still say avatar? Display pic? Profile. It's profile now, right? Watched a few of this guy's videos and was like, these are great. So I found him on Instagram and just reached out and said, hey man, your videos are awesome. Like, keep up the good work. Like, love what I'm watching. And then we got talking, and then I learned that he's like a custom watchmaker, and he takes models like Seiko model watches and basically films the entire process of rebuilding it custom. And he does great B-roll, and his shots look insane and everything looks so good. And he was like, I'll make you a watch. 100%. That sounds like the best thing I've ever heard. Let's do that. He made me a watch, and he filmed himself making it while also explaining a little bit of the process in this super dope sequence. And I thought, I have to make a video to feature this young guy, to show his skill off and show what he's doing is so cool in a completely different industry than mine, but still kind of relates on the side of filmmaking. And it's just like, that's also what I want to use this platform for, is this style of video. So do I unbox this first and then I should unbox this, then show you the clip. The mini bug out, it's navy blue because I dyed the scales on my stove at 1:30 in the morning. He padded this thing. Nicely done. Here it is. So he custom made this. That's funny. Not a Seiko, kinda. So he's like, I know you like a black watch with gold accents, and that's kind of like your brand colors, so to speak. So he made this custom. Eric, this looks fantastic. Boosh. Eric, man, you knocked it out of the park with this. There's a little note. Here's his business card. And what does he say? Yo, hope you dig it, Eric. Straight into the point. That's amazing. You know what? I think we should watch how Eric made this, because I think you're gonna be quite impressed. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Alright, to start this bow sequence, we're going to work on the movement, which is basically the heart of any watch. If this dies, then the entire watch is basically dead. So I'm replacing the white date wheel for a black version since we were using a black dial. I like to match the color of the day and date with the dial in order to have a smooth overall aesthetic. Otherwise, we end up with a contrasting white block just sitting there on the 3 o'clock position. Now we get the dial on and move on to installing the hands. This is probably the most difficult and frustrating step for a lot of people since it requires careful force management. You need enough pressure to get the hand seated into place, but not too much as to cause the hand to bend. These are actually really thin pieces of metal that can easily be damaged, so you have to be careful. The hour, minute, and second hand also need to be evenly spaced out vertically to prevent the hands from catching on each other. Basically, if they touch, then they can't tell you the time accurately. Now that those are in place, I start up the movement and we can see the second hand elegantly sweeping away since this is a mechanical movement. The internals are all done, so we move on to the case, which is the housing or body for our movement heart. I give it a clean, slide the chapter ring into place, and get the crystal gasket on. This watch will have a double-domed sapphire crystal with a clear anti-reflective coating because sapphire is incredibly scratch resistant yet super transparent. The crystal needs to be seated perfectly parallel to the case, otherwise you have a lopsided crystal that can potentially introduce moisture to the movement, which turns into rust, a watch's worst enemy. Now in case of the movement, which is always my favorite part since we start to see a watch opposed to a bunch of random parts. So how everything is controlled is through the crown, which is connected to the movement through a stem that needs to be trimmed and threaded on. The crown should be long enough to reach the movement, but short enough to allow the crown to screw in all the way for that watertight seal. The case back is temporarily closed to get the rotating bezel on. The bezel gasket is lubricated for the satisfying fidget aspect that 90% of us use the bezel for, and the bezel itself is snapped onto the case. Now that the bezel's on, all that's left to do is screw on the sapphire display case back and install the ceramic bezel insert.
How sick was that? I mean, come on. This is a young guy doing incredible filmmaking for a completely different industry, and it just goes to show you, it kind of doesn't matter like what you're into. It's really cool to see photography and filmmaking skills and good use of music and storytelling applied to an industry that is completely outside of photography and cinematography. And you know, the watch world, if you will, and I'm sure there's tons of other worlds that don't really get to see that level of craftsmanship throughout videos. You know, you're gonna look up a review on, I don't know, maybe you're gonna look up a review on this water bottle and there's gonna be someone talking about it and having their experience with it, but you're probably not gonna see that level of craftsmanship put into a review about a water bottle. And I wouldn't typically think that I'd see that on a watch either from the stuff that I've seen online. And that's why Eric's videos stood out to me so much, because he was going the extra mile using his skill in photography and filmmaking to basically highlight another skill and passion that he has in watchmaking. And it just inspired me to share the message with you, because you can really use photography and filmmaking to amplify whatever other interests you have. It's the same reason I have an entirely separate brand from Peter McKinnon, using filmmaking and photography to highlight the skills and interests in something entirely different. Take this off and set the time. I forgot, I just got excited and just threw it on real quick. So let's go a day before to Tuesday. And we'll go around until the watch changes itself so we know if it's AM or PM. Eric, thanks, man. Woo. You know, I could talk more about watches in this video, but this video for me isn't really about watches specifically. It's more about seeing a young filmmaker that was inspired and, you know, applying skills to a separate industry to highlight that and highlight that passion. That's what I got inspired from. That's what I thought was cool, and highlight that passion. That's what I got inspired from. That's what I thought was cool. But to touch on watches super briefly, I think I'm inspired by stuff like this as well, just because when I look at it, it's like a display of artistry. Another craftsman sitting somewhere meticulously putting this together piece by piece with so many steps and so many procedures that are so precise to make something like this work. It's so simple, but it's so complicated. And because of that, I'm drawn to it. I'm just fascinated by the fact that they're mostly handmade with the craziest tolerances. And my dad makes stuff with his hands, makes guitars. I make leather goods and different products with my hands. I've always kind of been drawn to this style of industry. You know, I'll look at this watch and think about Eric and how he was inspired and how he inspired me, and vice versa, and it goes both ways. And that's what's super cool about this community as a whole. It wraps into everything. That goes into YouTube, into filmmaking, into community and friendship and collaboration, and all of that came from a shared passion that him and I both had. And that's what I think is so cool about being able to make videos like this. Wanted to share it with you, and in hopes it'll inspire you to do the same thing. Today's video is brought to you by Epidemic Sound. If you need music for your videos, that's the place to go. That's the only place to go. The link is in the bio. Copyright free, royalty free, no claims, no nonsense. Just if you're making stuff for the internet, that's your source. All the music I use in every single video that I've ever uploaded to my channel since I started making vids is from Epidemic Sound. Thanks again to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. Bam, links below. Get sorted, get dialed, get music for your videos that actually sounds good, and you're not gonna get flagged. That's let's be honest, that's nice too. No one wants that. So I left Eric's channel below. Go check him out, give him some love, tell him I sent you. He makes pretty awesome videos, and if you liked what you saw here, it's a lot more of that. So go say hello, and that's it for me, guys. Hope you have a great day. Hit the like button if you like this video, smash it. If that's something that you're into, 2020 style. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in the next video. Word. Today's video sponsored and brought to you by Epidemic Sound. That sounded so official. Today's video brought to you by and sponsored from Epidemic Sound. You know, when you're like a sports arena and they're like, today's video brought to you by Epidemic Sound. That's pretty good. No? I thought it was pretty good.